Hey everybody, this is Rich Fontaine. I know I look a little bit crazy because I have Jasmine's glasses on, but I want to get my Elton John on this morning. um, yeah, we just kind of woke up, so just wanted to do a quick live before I settle in more into my little mini vacay with Jazz, just hanging out. I'm at this European village, which is really, really cool. And so I wanted to talk about having fun with life and living your fantasies. And people say, well, I think what bogs many people down, used to bog me down all the time, was how can you live your fantasies because you're always thinking about the income. Well, I can't afford to live my fantasies. I can't afford to ride yachts and private planes and go to Europe and things like that. But when you use your imagination, you could, right? And only thing I encourage people to do is return to a kid. It said in the good book, unless you revert to the mind of a child, you'll never enter the kingdoms of heaven. And I pondered, I contemplate that verse for a very long time, and to me it comes to find out that you just live in your imagination. See, I'm in a European village, but I'm not really in Europe. I can't leave the country, right? So I'm in Florida, but I feel like I'm in Europe because I'm in a European village. See, so I live in a fantasy. I live in my imagination because I want to travel to Europe. I say, I want to travel to Europe all the time. That's on my affirmations. But when I can't travel to Europe, I can't afford to travel to Europe. I don't have the money to travel to Europe. I could still travel to Europe. And that's the fun part about it. Even when we took these pictures for our wedding in a private plane, it wasn't really my private plane. It was just a friend of a friend of a friend's, right? And I get to enjoy that because I get to live in my fantasies. But the thing about it is, what makes people upset sometimes, what bogs people down is I can't do the things I want to do. And it stresses us out and it makes us upset because we want to express ourselves in a certain way, but we can't. So the only way we really can is when we do it in our imaginations. And what happens is sometimes we attract the actual opportunity to do it in real life. So I feel like at first it happens in your imagination. The law of attraction is this. You think of it, you think of what you want, then you put yourself in that environment to get the same feeling as if you had it now. And then when you have that same feeling as when you have it now, you tend to manifest it. And what I've learned in my life is I get to manifest many cool things because I like to live in my fantasy. I like to live, just like Ernest in the book, if you ever read my book, The Nerd Who Saved the Universe, is I do the same thing. I live in my fantasy. I live in my imagination. But what happens when I live in my imagination, the reality of it starts to get screwy. It starts to blend together where things in reality starts to reflect itself off what the things I reflect in my imagination. And it's happened to me many times in my life. So I spend times just enjoying things that I would love to do in real life, but I do it in my imagination. So right now we're in this European village here in Palm Coast, Florida. And it's so cool because it feels like I'm in Europe. But I get that feeling. And it makes me happy in life. It makes me enjoyable. I don't have to say, man, I never get to do anything. I never get a chance to go to Europe. And I can because it's like an hour away from where I live. And we all can have stuff like in our neighborhoods, in our communities, in our towns that help us live out in our imagination. And just we're afraid to, or we say we can't afford it. And we let that block us. But there's many things you can afford that has nothing to do really with money. Like you could come to these places for free, like the banquet hall. I'll show you right here. The banquet hall is absolutely free. So, there's nothing that you can't and cannot do when you live out in your imagination. And I always feel that if you do that, you tend to get happier, feel more positive and fulfilled, and then you tend to attract more things that you want in life when you can live out of your imagination. Hey Sue, I appreciate you taking your time to watch this, and anyone else that takes their time to watch this. I appreciate all of you. Love is love, and I'm just gonna chill out because that's what I'm here to do, is chill out. I appreciate all of you. Love is love. Give Jazz a shout out to her Elton John glasses I got on here. I appreciate all of you. Have a blessed Sunday. Namaste.